Hey guys, and welcome to another Galactic Adventures landscaping session. So, as you can see, we already have a bit of a environment here. These are the Crystal Caves, which was a suggestion by Hazilla during a live stream. And I do like how they currently look. They're a lot more magical than I intended, but I honestly quite like that. I do want a bit of a variety. I do plan on doing a whole bunch of kind of Arctic environments as well, but for the time being, some kind of more magical one is really cool. But, as much as I like it, it definitely is a little bit cramped. Now, I can still work with this, but I would like to work on another version just like this, which is much bigger and much more spacious. So if we go ahead then and disable the shaders, get back into the game, and you can see that this is how it's supposed to look. Only thing is actually is that it doesn't have a ceiling yet. There was meant to be like a great big ceiling here, but I'm not sure if I had any more plans in mind for this one. I'm quite happy with the sort of valley itself, but like I said, I do want to do more when I have like another one. So, as you can see, that is actually how it looks from a distance. Don't mind all of the crazy terrain over there. Yeah, this is how it actually looks from a distance then. And what I'd like to have is another really large one, quite like the Elder's Recess in Monster Hunter World. Don't worry, I don't plan on making every single one just like Monster Hunter World, but you gotta admit, some really good references. And it wasn't what we initially had in mind when it came to the Crystal Caves, but it's what people pointed out after we finished making them that, oh yeah, they do look like Monster Hunter World, and that's an aesthetic I don't mind keeping. So, for this one, for a valley, that's really tall. That's not how valleys work. Alright, let's try that again then. We shouldn't have any water anywhere here, so I can probably get away with using oceans and lakes. I think that'd be fine. So, like I said, I want this one to be quite large. In fact, it's going to have a icy surface anyway, so it actually doesn't really matter quite as much. Now, if I bring Jowie over here, that's going to be our size indication, and that is far too small. So what we're going to do then is go ahead and just make it even larger. I'm thinking something like that. Now, unfortunately, a bit of a thing with Galactic Adventures and, you know, Spore's stupidly tiny planets is the fact that you can see the curvature of the planet, which is not really ideal. You know, unironically, I would love a flat planet in this game. I mean, there's a lot of memes about that, but it would be really convenient. As you've probably seen in the previous video of this series, where we've created the wild Spore wastes, again, we went the whole idea of making like the really large giant walls, but then making, you know, like a bit more definition, a bit more detail around the edges of it, where it meets the ground, and that's the kind of thing I'm going to go in for this as well. So, because I also want to have a bit of a ceiling. Like I said, it's going to be a cave. For the ceiling itself, this is really glitchy. For the ceiling itself, I'll probably just do like a whole bunch of upside down rocks, so it'll be completely enclosed. But that is the thing to do at the very end, and so I'm in no rush to do that just yet. Alright, so we've got a bit of a border in place now. I gotta admit, the curvature of the ground is really bothering me. So what I'm gonna try to do then is just move the Jowie away for a moment. Gonna get another gate, and what I'd like to try and do is just get a very large flat surface. Maybe not perfectly flat, but maybe just something to change it up a bit. I'm thinking, let's try this marshmallow rock here, because it's going to be still slightly curved. Actually, no, if we turn it upside down. Yes, that is relatively flat there. Now, the downside is that it's going to make the ground very dark. If I do that, in fact, it doesn't even have to be the entire thing. It could just be a part of it like that. And just like that alone, should make a pretty significant difference. Yeah, okay, I like that. I don't mind that. I really don't mind that at all. I know it's kind of strange how we've just got this great big, you know, ice ground here. In fact, what if I just reduced the water level further? That kind of works. I like that a lot better. Okay, this is good. This is good. Okay, good. We've got like a very large open area. Again, I know it's kind of strange. This great big dark texture, but we can work with it. And the Jowie can still walk in it as well, which is, again, ideal. We've got, obviously, a bit of a ditch around the corners there, but that's going to be fine because it's going to get covered in with more crystals anyway. Now, for my next rock choice, what I'm actually going to do this time round is intertwine between creature, or let's say between organic and regular rock, if that makes sense. The prop I'm currently using right now is actually a creature, just frozen into, or it's like frozen as a gate into like a statue kind of thing. Basically, in other words, you know, I've used an actual Spore creature as a prop, which is just this great big lump of crystals. The reason why I'm doing it this way, like this first, is because I want to create like a false sense of complexity. I want to add in like all these much larger but greater density rocks. That way I can then intertwine more and more of the regular rock in place and just keep on going back and forth like that until we get like a bit of a nice smooth finish towards the end. Right, and there we go so far. So now we should effectively look like we are in a giant geode. Just place that there, let's have a look from the ground up. So there you go then. So like I said earlier, it's kind of really given us a false sense of more and more complexity. I had to tidy up a couple of areas, such as around here. That's obviously, you know, not really ideal. But a lot of the other areas though, like kind of all around here, it's okay. It's a start. It's definitely getting there. It's a bit blinding from that angle. Now, as a little demonstration, or as a little idea, what would it look like if I used one of these as a ceiling? Now, in reality, I'd use more and more and more of these, but just for the time being, just for like the sake of demonstration, how would it look if I use just one great big giant one? Flip it up upside down, bring it up quite high, and make it absolutely as big as can be. It's pretty much just sandwich the entire thing, and how'd that look from the ground? Okay, not very good. Not very good by the slightest. Actually, that's kind of the thing I'm after, but just significantly better. I do want that to be pillars, like I said, just like the Elder's Recess in Monster Hunter World, but this time going, you know, purely improv. I've got like a vague image of the idea in my head, but not actually looking at references this time. Just going for like a very vague idea. And yeah, like I said, I wanted a bunch of pillars, and this, I guess, kinda works. But it's definitely not what I want. I want it to be like a lot better. But I still want to tidy up the walls and make it all, like, especially around here, bring that inwards. Just need to make everything just look a bit tidier and a little bit more detailed. Well then, I think it's safe to say I got a little bit carried away when it came to placing all the crystals. I just started placing more and more and more and more and more and more and more. In fact, how many crystals do we actually have here? If I go look at, let's say, so this is going to include the other trench down here as well. So it's just like the total props in this map. For the crystal rocks, we have 14. For these ones, we have 43. In fact, let's look at the Gates version actually. For the Gates version, we have 106, I think that is. For this one over here, the ceilings, we've got 116. For the dark blue ones down here, we've got 44. And, get ready. For the main ones that you'll see littering basically everywhere, this one we have 331. So, like I said, got a lot of crystals, and I got a little bit carried away. But I do like how it came out, though. So in the end, as I mentioned, I really wanted to transition to all the great big giant ones, all the, you know, honestly said, kind of sloppy, just shoved one downs. And I wanted to transition all those into much more medium ones, more thoughtful ones, and then into all the small ones that just make it a lot more, I guess, observable. So, you know, if I was to have like a creature wandering around in here, you can actually see it, like, you can actually see it compared to the creature, as opposed to on the left, which is just like a great big random pyramid, on the right to actually see what it's meant to be. That was the idea I had in mind. I've also added in a couple of these pillars. Like I said, just like the Elder's Recess and Monster Hunter World, I did want these big pillars. I wasn't really sure how to do them, because I want them to be like this big crystal texture. But this right here is about the best I could really get. And I guess not too bad, to be honest, because you're never really going to see that in reality. And if you do, it's going to be such a background thing anyway. All the focus is going to be on the creature itself, that I guess that doesn't really matter too much. But it definitely isn't my go-to idea. And as you can see, the ceiling as well. Once again, a detail I'll probably never actually re-spotted, but I still want to do it anyway. You can see how the entire ceiling is also covered in crystals, so it truly has become a crystal cavern. And then I decided to add in some plants. Now, originally, I didn't want there to be any plants. Like, again, if you compare it to the Elder's Recess and Monster Hunter World, I think the only plants in that are just the various herbs and, you know, resources you turn into items. Not really anything actually, you know, like any actual plant life. But here, I decided to go for that, though. Because there was all these, like, really interesting, colourful, blue, green, turquoise, a bit of pink and purple as well, all these different plants that do just have, like, a bit of a natural crystal texture. I thought it fits in, and also just a randomness as well of having them all over the place. Not to mention a couple of these little ones here as well. And then, just like I did with the initial trench idea, I've also added in all these little mystical effects here and there. So now it's gone from a ice cavern to a bit more of like a magical cavern, which I don't really mind. I was never necessarily going for an Arctic theme. Mostly I just wanted something, I don't know, I guess just very, very crystal-y. Like, I guess a crystal could be interpreted as either frost or magic. And if I wanted it to be frost, I could just remove the effect afterwards, no problem at all. So how does this look then with the shaders enabled? I guess it does actually look quite good, just not when I'm moving. But if I'm like just stuck on a certain scene, I do like the look of that. Right, so now it does make it look much more magical, so the different colours that the shaders add in do give like a lot more pinks and purples, which I do quite like, to be honest. And it also just make the effects like kind of stand out a little bit more. Oh, the ceiling looks a lot better with this on. I really, really like that. Cool. Okay then, so I think this is going to be like another candidate then for a landscape to show creations in. Now, I don't know what creations I would add in here. I guess probably just anything like more mythological, like dragon. Hello. Yeah, that can happen. I guess just like dragons and such would definitely work in here. Certain Monster Hunter creatures as well, because I do plan on doing more of them. They would also work in here. Let me have a look actually. If I hide the border for a second. Now that I've added in the plants, how does it look like in the original trench? If we go over... Oh, where is it? If we go over down here, what does it look like down there? I'll just turn the border back on because like a bit of a... Maybe it's just me, but it's a bit of like a cinematic feel. Okay, the plants have dominated this area. But again though, that does actually look really nice. I do like that. So I think like in here then... Oh yeah, the sky's open. That's an interesting touch. So I think... Oh, look at that. Look at that as a view right there. Maybe not for a video. I don't know. Maybe I'd have to like remove the plants here because it does make like a bit of an issue. But I think like just that, for example, as an angle, just like have the creature... In fact, if I do like a bit of an example right here, let's just like turn around the jowie. And free cam. So if I were to just have that as an example, just to showcase the creature in the environment, as opposed to it wandering around, just having like sitting here for a moment and then move to the cavern to wander around in, it would just give me options. And that's fine, you know, options are good. I think options would be very, very good here. I like it. It's interesting. I do like how it came out. I do have to admit though, that if we again go back to the cavern, something does feel missing, and I cannot place my finger on what that is. I've added a fair few gemstones here and there. Maybe it's just creatures, actually. Yeah, but there are no other creatures here. Maybe that's the thing that's missing. I guess here I could probably have... What can I have around here? Maybe it's like little bugs or like crystal beetles and such. Or, I don't know. Elementals? I don't know, something feels missing. Let me know what you guys think. What would be nice, like, but bear in mind, it's a background, so there's not going to be any focus on the things in the background. The focus is going to be, like, on the showcase creature. But what can you imagine being in the background that would, like, really complement all this? Definitely worth a thought. But I think we're pretty much done here, though. I think we're pretty much done with, like, this environment altogether. And I really look forward to using this in the future. So guys, as always, thank you very, very much for watching, and I really hope that you're enjoying these new themes and creations. Those things keep on scaring me. And as always, I hope you all have a wonderful day. Take care, and I'll see you later. Cheers.